Okay. Again, good afternoon. Ay, nakapag-good afternoon ako. Wala pa man. Okay. We ended sa Article 184, offering false testimony and evidence. Okay. So, elements ini. Good afternoon. The offender offered in evidence a false testimony or naging false witness siya. So, the offender knew the witness or the testimony was false. Balaan niya nga false ang iya nga ginahambal. But then again, nag-render siya sa muna nga statement. So the offer was made in a judicial or official proceeding. When we say judicial, ara siya sa court, official, through papers nga under oath siya. Okay? Next. Next, Article 185, machinations in public auctions. So, there are two acts punishable under this article. First, soliciting a gift. Ginpeke mo kumbaga ang public auction. So, ang purpose ang daan, guys, ang public auction is it's either ang normal nga public auction is ang the higher bid amo na siya ang madaog. So iban ginapeke ang public auction para hindi magtaas ang bid. So if you fake a public auction, so ginadaya mo kumbaga ang seller, di ba? So soliciting a gift or promise, gift or promise na baka hindi ko magbid, basta hatagan mo ko sang amuni. Okay? So that is a crime. Elements, there must be a public auction. Second, the accused solicited any gift or a promise from any of the bidders, and that such gift or promise was the consideration for his refraining from taking part in that public auction. And fourth, the accused had the intent to cause the reduction of the price of the thing auction. Diba? Okay, wala nagtaas ang presyo because nag-agree sila settle nila between themselves ang auction. Okay, number 2, attempting to cause bidders to stay away. So, there are many ways to make bidders stay away. So, like for example, threat, gift, promise, or any other artifice. So the mere attempt to cause the bidders not to participate in the said auction by the threats, gifts, or promise will already give rise to the crime. So pwedeng attempted siya. So it is not necessary that the bidders would not actually participate. So ang elements, may public auction, and then the accused attempted to cause the bidders to stay away, and that it was done by threats, gift, promise, or any other artifice, or the accused had the intent to cause the reduction of the price of the thing auction. Sige. In order to be liable of this crime, whether it be a fact of solicitation or other act of attempting to cause bidders to stay away from the public auction, it is necessary, kinanglan, kumbaga, nga may ara sang intention ng offender. The intent is what is important. There is an intention of the offender to cause the reduction of the price of the thing which is subject to the public auction. Okay. Article 186. 186, monopolies and combinations in restraint of trade. So, monopolies, when we say monopoly, ginasolo niya, di ba? Mono means one. So, ginamonopolize niya kumbaga ang isa ka business. So, monopolies and combinations in restraint of trade. So, ang purpose guys naman nga gina-discourage ang monopoly is to make the price competitive sa market. Mag-lower down kumbaga ang prices. Okay, di ba? Kung it's a common supply and demand principle nga kung ang supply is limited and the demand is high, the price will go up, di ba? And the vice versa. Kung mataas naman ang supply, kumbaga, damo baligya sa merkado, tapos ang demand medyo barato ang presyo. So if there is monopoly, there is only one seller, ibig sabihin, wala sang competition. So kung wala sang competition, pag gusto sa sang presyo niya, kay kinanglan na niya services, tapos siya lang ang nag-render sa amo ng services or goods, hatag sa mga goods, then pag gusto sa sang price niya. And that defeats the buyers, di ba? Nagakaperde dira ang buyers kay wala sang competition. So, it is important nga i-manage kumbaga ang ginatawag nga monopoly. Ginahimo siya nga crime ang pag-ubra sang monopoly or combinations to in restraint of trade. Okay? Acts punished here is combination to prevent free competition in the market. This is committed by any person who shall enter into any contract or agreement taking part in any combination, whether in the form of trust or otherwise in restraint of trade or commerce, or to prevent by artificial means free competition in the market. Or ang second, monopoly to restrain free competition in the market. This is committed by monopolizing any merchandise. Like for example, ang COVID vaccines. Kung na-monopolize na sang isa lang ka-pharmaceutical company, then that's a restraining trade. Okay, this is committed by monopolizing any merchandise or object of trade or commerce, or by combining with any other person or persons in order to alter the prices thereof by spreading false rumor or making use of any other artifice to restrain free competition in the market. Again, third, manufacturer, producer, or processor or importer combining, conspiring, or agreeing with any person to make transactions prejudicial to the lawful commerce or to increase the market price or merchandise. Basta ang ano mo lang guys, dapat hindi ka mo mag-agree with one another. If you are businessmen, you should not agree with one another to monopolize a certain necessary product, for instance. Kaya if you do, you will be committing a crime under this article. Ang illustration, di ba? Ang gasolina, nagabago-bago ang presyo. And that is because of, that is affected sa availability ng oil. So what if ang Petron, Caltex, Shell, nag-connive sila, nag-combine sila, and nag-deal with one another to hoard fuel. I-hoard nilang fuel para kung wala sang supply, mataas ang demand, mataas ang presyo, di ba? So they know that the fuel prices will increase by March, so they decided to hoard it. So can they be held liable under Article 186? Juridical persons, companies, are not criminally liable. Sinabi kulong mo sa isa ka kumpanya, kung kumpanya ang ianhon mo. Ang corporation itself, hindi mo siya pwede isulod sa kulungan. So who will be responsible? Okay, this is the question under another question. So first, it cannot be said that juridical persons can act with intent. And second, you cannot imprison juridical person in case of conviction. So if the offender is a juridical entity, who shall be held liable? Okay? Sino ang maging held liable? Ang president, directors, or any members of the said corporation, association, or partnership who knowingly permitted or allowed this combination or monopoly in restraint of trade or commerce. So note that they must knowingly, dapat balaan nila nga nag-permit sila sa the same. Otherwise, hindi sila maging criminally liable. If more so, if the monopoly or combination and restraint of trade or commerce or prime commodities such as food, fuel, lubricants, and hindi necessary nga may ara as ang conspiracy. A mere proposal is already punishable under this article. It's already a crime. Okay? Article 187, importation and disposition of falsely marked articles. Importation and disposition of falsely marked articles. Okay? Committed by any person who shall import, sell, or dispose any article of merchandise made of gold, silver, or any other precious metals or their alloys. Ano ginumbra sang nag-offend? The offender imports, sells, or disposes any article or merchandise made of gold, silver, or any other precious metals or their alloys. So, ang ano naman diriya, ang pagpanuntos ng branding, okay? So, the stamps, brands, marks of those articles or merchandise fail to indicate their actual fitness and quality of the said metals or alloys. Imagine mo kung like for example, ang 8 karat na gold, na balo niya nga, hindi mo 24 karat ni siya. Diba? So the difference sa ano ganito? Sa value. Okay? So the offender knows that the stamps, brands, marks fail to indicate their actual fitness and quality of the metals or alloys. So this is considered a criminal act because the offender, despite knowing that these articles or merchandise that he imported are misbranded, he still imports the same and sells the same and disposes the same. So this is considered a criminal act because the offender, despite mere importation is a punishable act. So either hindi kinanglan nga tatlogid, either importation, selling, or disposing. Okay, so tapos na kita sa article, tapos na kita sa article 187. Let's move on sa Title 5, Crimes Relative to Opium and Other Prohibited Drugs. So this section actually of the revised penal code is already repealed. What specific law repealed this section of the law of RPC? Anyone? Graded recitation. What law? Special law? Yes, Anne? Marielle? Do you know what law? Okay. Title 5 is about crimes relative to opium and other prohibited drugs. So this title of the revised penal code was already repealed. Ibig sabihin, wala na ni. Ang ginasunod naton nga law regarding crimes under this title is already a special law. So what is that special law?
Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, ma'am.
Okay. Very good. What's the name? Anne? Ano section mo, Anne?
Hello, ma'am.
Ano section mo?
D, ma'am.
Okay. Very good. So, Dangerous Drugs Act. Lesser na an ka an. 2B. Two B or 2D? B. Okay. Delta. Okay, tingala mo ko, abi ko absent si Anne sa mga previous. Okay, very good. Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, or otherwise known as Republic Act 9165. So, ang inyong assignment sa modules is what are the crimes punishable under this law. So, ginano nyo man to. Ang importante malandi guys, ang following sections, okay? Importation of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors or essential chemicals. So pag import, basta na dumduman nyo sa Bureau of Customs before, basta Duterte, dumayara na sila naging issue, naging pa-imbestigahan sa Congress ang importation of Dangerous Drugs Act na nag-connive sila with Bureau of Customs. So, that's an example of an investigation that if proven true, they will be liable under this section of the law RA 9165. Okay? Importation, it is committed by any person who, unless authorized by law, shall import or bring to the Philippines any dangerous drug. Okay guys, ang dangerous drug diri nakabutang diri nga hindi man gid siling shabu lang o kung ano, but also other drugs nga wala na approved sa FDA, okay? In one Supreme Court decision, it was held not for one to be liable of importation of the dangerous drugs. It is necessary to be proven that the dangerous drugs that were taken in a vessel came from a foreign country. So, dapat may arasang proof nga halin siya sa sagot for you to be liable of importation. So, kung diri within the Philippines lang, like for example, Cebu to Iloilo, there's no importation, okay? So, kay domestic lang siya. Only then can it be said that dangerous drugs have been imported from another country. The vessel which came into the Philippine ports with dangerous drugs must be proven to have come from another country. Ari section 5 guys, kung by basta mo ini ang ilang charge on top of possession, okay? Section 5, sale, trading, administration, dispensation, delivery, distribution, and transportation of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. So, ang controlled precursors and essential chemicals, those are mga ingredients, kumbaga, sa pag-ubras ng drugs. Diba? May mga ano man lang kita nga mga ingredients lang, mga chemicals lang ilagay na ang ilang gina-possess, but then again, they're already charged with 9165. Okay, selling of dangerous drugs. Selling is an act of giving away any dangerous drugs and or controlled precursor and essential chemical, whether for money or for any other consideration. So, for itaman or kung ano man da. Drugs by do sa utan o basta mo na. Okay? Any other consideration? Joke lang. Okay, elements of sale of illegal drugs. So, the identity of the buyer and the seller. It is necessary that the identity of the buyer and the seller is clearly identified. So, mag-buy bust, una na nga ginaubra, ginapicturan, di ba? Mga ginapicturan, tapos ginakuha ang ID, makita dira kung ano yung pangalan and all. Because the identity must be identified. The object and the consideration. There must be an object or consideration, either money or like for example, gold or anong ginapay ito sa drugs man? Wala ka ba? Or the delivery of the thing sold and the delivery of the thing sold and payment thereof. Dapat may baligya. Because if the dangerous drugs had not been delivered, the third element is lacking. So the sale is Wala na tabo ang sale, okay? There is only attempted illegal sale of dangerous drugs, not consummated illegal sale of dangerous drugs. Minagaling, guys, may ginatawag kita kung sa Baybas, may ginatawag ng marked money. Para, na diya, fingerprint, nakapta niya na. So, hindi niya ma-deny nga, wala siya nagbaton sa kwarta. So, there is consummation of the sale. Okay? What if the person has been prosecuted for illegal sale of dangerous drugs? The said operation was a buy-bust operation. So, may entrapment procedure. Here, the criminal intent originated mainly from the offender himself. That's why it is not considered as an absolutory cause. Here, the police officers employed means and methods to entrap and capture the criminal in flagrante. That is the actual act of committing the crime. So, what if the buy-bust operation, the accused drug seller was arrested? In the said operation, the informant acted as a poseur buyer. He was given marked money. The policeman ran into the place of the drug seller. Only the poseur buyer knocked at the door of the drug seller. The drug seller came out, and when the poseur buyer said he wanted to buy dangerous drugs in the amount of 200 pesos, the drug seller said, okay, and they gave 2 plastic sachets of dangerous drugs to the poseur buyer. However, the poseur buyer, without having given the marked money yet to the drug seller, negligently removed his eyeglasses. So the police officers thought that it was a signal that the sale has been consummated. So wala pa na kaptan, kumbaga, ang marked money. So they arrived at the said place and arrested the drug sellers. The marked money was not given to the drug seller. Does this constitute his acquittal? No, provided that all elements are present. Note that the second element only requires the crime must be established. The corpus delicti and the price must be established. It does not require that there must be giving of the prize money. It suffices that the crime must establish. So in this case, gin-convict man siya gyapon. Okay, kaya wala na buyan sang ang marked money. So, but then again, wala sang evidence of sale, di ba? Kaya the marked money is not presented in court. Okay. Ang testimony, balas ang poseur buyer kinanglan gid. Answer, Supreme Court decision ni siya. The testimony of the poseur buyer is not indispensable in the case of illegal sale of dangerous drugs. Okay? So, pwede man siya gyapon ma-convict. Depende sa sa pag-prove niya sa court. It is incumbent upon the prosecution to prove that the said transaction by the presentation of the said poseur buyer. So general rule, the testimony of the poseur buyer is not indispensable in the case of illegal sale of dangerous drugs, except when the accused denies the existence of the said transaction. Siyempre, deny niya gid lang. So, if the poseur buyer is not present, tapos naghamba ng accused nga wala may natabong ang transaction, there is no evidence to counter it kay ang poseur buyer wala na testify in court, the drug seller may be acquitted. It may tantamount to the dismissal of the case. Okay? Delivery. When we say delivery, it is an act of knowingly passing the dangerous drugs to another, personally or otherwise, and by any means, with or without consideration. So, passing. Okay? Wala na wigit lang gin siya yan, knowingly passing. Gin may knowledge siya, gina-transfer niya ang dangerous drugs. Okay? Section 6, maintenance of a den, dive, or resort. So, muna sila ang mga ganyan, tawag nilang akuta or something. Any person who maintains a den, dive, or resort for the use of illegal drugs, kung diin bala sila session, okay, are liable under this section. So, are the owners persons maintaining the dangerous drugs then? Are the owners persons maintaining the said dangerous drug dens are only the ones who are criminally liable? Owners lang bala or any person nga naga-maintain? Under Section 7, even the employees who are aware of the nature of the said den, dive, or resort for the use and sale of dangerous drugs are also criminally liable. So, hindi lang owners ang lugar, hindi lang man ang person nga nagka-maintain, pati employees pwede makasuhan under this act. Okay? Likewise, even persons who are not employees, which knowingly visit the same place despite the knowledge of the nature of such den, dive, or resort are also criminally liable. So, hindi lang man ang pag-maintain, hindi man ang pag-hit-hit or something like that. But knowingly visiting the place na drug den, dive, or resort is also a criminal liability. So they will be charged with a crime visiting drug den. What if the said den, dive, or resort is owned by a third person? Let's say si A and B, nag-rent sila sa house. And then, after giving down the payment, A and B went to the said house. Giving the down payment, nagkato sila sa said house, A and B used the house as a den for illegal sale of dangerous drugs. So, ang police officers nag-secure sang warrant and A and B were arrested. Can the owner, butang pa si C, can the owner of the said house be criminally liable for the maintenance of the said den? How about the house? Can it be forfeited in favor of the government? Di ba, ang mga nagamit, kumbaga, in committing a crime can be confiscated in favor of the government. So under Section 6, the said den, dive, or resort for the use of illegal drugs is cheated in favor of the government, provided that the following circumstances concur. The information must allege that the said place is intentionally being used in the furtherance of the illegal sale or use of dangerous drugs. Such intent must be proven by the prosecutor, and the owner of the said house must be included as an accused. Okay, dapat accused ang owner in the information of the complaint. If these three elements are present, then the said house shall be confiscated and is cheated in favor of the government. Okay, Section 8, manufacture of dangerous drugs. So, name one of the crimes punishable. The presence of any controlled precursor or essential chemical or laboratory equipment in the clandestine laboratory is prima facie evidence of manufacture of any dangerous drugs. So, present lang sa mga controlled precursor, mga essential chemical or laboratory equipment na sa paggamit sang hindi man sila kinanglan nga maaktuhan gid nga nagalugay-lugay kumbaga sang dangerous drugs or nagaluto, wala ko bilo pa na ginaluto. Anyway, hindi man gid kinanglan nga ginaobra ang drugs pag hindi man sila kinanglan nga madakpan nga nagaobra gid sang drugs. The presence lamang sa mga controlled precursors, mga essential nga mga chemicals and equipments, amo na siya ang punishable na siya. Illegal possession, this is wrong spelling guys, of dangerous drugs. Elements of possession of illegal drugs. The accused was in possession of the prohibited drug and the legal possession of dangerous drugs The word possession does not only mean actual possession. Pwede man nga ma-found sa iya nga place, sa kwarto niya, hindi man sila yung ginakaptan niya gid, or gid sa bulsa niya, or gid sa lawas niya. But it must be a place under his control and dominion. Like sa kwarto niya, sa drawer niya, that's still possession. Okay. By virtue of a search warrant, the police officers conducted a search of a house of A to look for cocaine. So, question siya. They looked inside the bedroom and underneath the pillow on the bedroom of A. And then he found several sachets of cocaine. Can it be held that A is in possession of said drugs? Yes, because it is under his control and dominion. So, the possession does not only mean physical or actual possession. Pwede man nga constructive possession as long as the dangerous drugs is under his control and dominion. It must be, ano man, ang element is the accused was in possession of the prohibited drug, and then such possession is not authorized by law. And the accused freely and consciously possessed the prohibited drug. So, balaan niya nga may-ara siya. Okay. Illegal possession of drug paraphernalia. Section 12. Another crime punishable. Example, a person was found in possession of empty plastic sachets and other instruments used for using dangerous drugs. He is therefore liable for illegal possession of drug paraphernalia. What if a person was found in possession of drug paraphernalia? Can they avail of the benefit of probation? Okay. Probation. Yes, he can avail of probation. The penalty prescribed sa illegal possession of drug paraphernalia is in imprisonment ranging from 6 months to 1 day to 4 years. 6 months and 1 day to 4 years. So, probationable man siya gyapon. So, kaya probationable, dapat punishable with crime not exceeding 6 years. So, below 6 years. Pwede ma-probation. Another crime, illegal possession of dangerous drugs during parties, social gatherings, or meetings. At least 2 persons, okay? Proximate company of at least 2 persons. The maximum penalty prescribed by law shall be imposed. Section 15, illegal use of dangerous drugs. Elements of illegal dangerous drugs. Elements. The offender was apprehended in the actual use of the dangerous drugs. First element requires that the offender must be actually using, sniffing, or sniffing the dangerous drugs. Dapat illegal use. So when we say use, amo pagid ni, dapat maaktuhan gid nga actually using, sniffing the dangerous drugs. So after a confirmatory test, he was found to be positive for the use of any dangerous drugs. So dapat naka-undergo siya sang PNP confirmatory test sa PNP crime lab. Okay? Naka-drug test siya. And no other amount of dangerous drugs must be found in his possession. If any other amount of dangerous drugs was found in his possession, then the proper charge would no longer be illegal use, but illegal possession of dangerous drugs. So kung wala na drugs under his possession, naubos niya na. So ang crime nga charge must be illegal use. Pero kung may makita pa sa iya possession, illegal possession ang proper crime na i-charge. So the police officer saw a man snatch the cell phone of a woman. Since the question, the police officer saw a man snatch a cell phone of a woman. Nagpang-snatch siya. Since the police officer saw the man in committing the crime in flagrante delicto of actually snatching, and the man ran away, they followed the man. They entered, the man entered the house. The police officers, upon entering the house, saw 3 men on a round table. They were in actual act of sniffing shabu. They were arrested and they were asked to stand up and fold their arms, and they were searched. In search sila. Upon the search, they found that these 3 men, each of them was found a sachet of illegal drugs in their pockets aside from the dangerous drugs that they were already using. So what case will you file against the 3 men? So ang case to be filed is illegal possession of dangerous drugs. Okay? No illegal use of dangerous drugs because the third element is one thing. Okay? Dapat wala na sang other drugs in his possession for him to be charged of illegal use. Okay. Tapos nakita sa mga punishable crimes, procedure for the seizure and confiscation of dangerous drugs. So ano ang procedures ng PDEA? Under this law. So apprehending team which has the initial possession of the seized confiscated dangerous drugs shall inventory the dangerous drugs. Okay? Take photograph of the same, pang picture, mag-inventory sila, and then mag-take sila sa photograph of the same in the presence of the accused or from the person whom the dangerous drugs have been confiscated or in the presence of his counsel, a representative from the media, a representative from the Department of Justice, amo na ganing arang fiscal, because he is a representative from the Department of Justice, and an elected public official who shall be given a copy of the said inventory. A public official can be a barangay captain, barangay kagawad, etc. Who shall be given a copy of the said inventory and who shall be required to sign the same. So, pirma. Okay? Upon the seizure and confiscation of the dangerous drugs, the same must be stated in the inventory list. And there must be a picture taking of the dangerous drugs in the presence of the accused or from the person whom the dangerous drugs have been confiscated in the presence of ang mentioned ko before. The elected public official must be required to sign the inventory list and shall be given a copy of the same. So what if the police officers failed to comply sa among procedure? Okay? In People versus Santa Maria, the police officers failed to comply with the procedure. However, there was conviction. However, in the case of Dolera versus People, the police officers failed to comply with Section 21. This time, na-acquit ang accused. So why is there an acquittal in the case of Dolera and why is there a conviction in the case of Santa Maria? Parihas wala na comply but then different ang ruling. Excuse me. The Supreme Court held that even if there is a failure to comply with the procedure underlined in Section 21 by the arresting officers, there will still be a conviction if the said non-compliance is due to justifiable reasons, and provided that the police officers were able to preserve the integrity and evidentiary bond of the confiscated dangerous drugs. This is in consonance with the chain of custody rule. Basta ma-follow lang ang chain of custody. Bis ka hindi ma-perfect ang Section 21. What is chain of custody? It is defined as the duly recorded authorized movements and custody of dangerous drugs from the time of its confiscation to the receipt in forensic laboratory to safekeeping the presentation and to safekeeping to the presentation in court for destruction. So, ang chain of custody dapat from the time naging confiscate na siya, tapos dapat amo man na siya gyapon ng same drugs nga ma-receive sa forensic laboratory nga ma-check kung drugs kin man tong ginapossess. Kaya kung hindi drugs, di ba? Basta gin-exchange, gin-change sa tawas, di ba? Sang arresting officer, di ba? Gin-change siya sa tawas. Pag-abot sa forensic laboratory, ang finding hindi na sa drugs. Or di man, basta tawas, ang na-confiscate niya sa iya, basta tawas ya, tapos gin-change siya arresting officer sa shabu, o di ba? Gin-plantidan siya. So, dapat na-keep ang integrity sang evidence nimo. So, dapat ma-establish mo ang chain of custody. And na properly mark na siya and all. Okay? What is the purpose of the chain of custody rule? The purpose is to ensure that the dangerous drug seized, confiscated from the accused is the very same, dapat same ang identity, dangerous drugs that was tested in by the forensic chemist, and it is the very same dangerous drug presented in court. That is, wala sang substitution sang evidence. Wala. Substitution. Before, wala sang plea bargaining sa mga dangerous drugs cases. But then again, recently, ginalaw ang plea bargaining. A positive finding for the use of dangerous drugs shall be qualifying aggravating circumstance. So, again, balikawot nga nagamit na siya gani isang drugs, mas naba pa iya nga kaso or use lang iya kaso imbis nga possession. No. Ang iya nga crime is ang use, ang use nga, or like for example, ang drug test niya nga nag-positive shall be a qualifying aggravating circumstance. For any crime, actually. For example, A killed B. The police officers arrested A killed B. So the police officers arrested A and they brought him sa crime lab to be tested for the use of dangerous drugs. So after testing, he was found positive for the use of dangerous drugs. So ano ang effects niya sa criminal liability ni A? So i-qualify ang crime. So Section 25 states that positive finding for the use of dangerous drugs shall be a qualifying aggravating circumstance. Changes the nature of the crime. Even without changing the nature of the crime, it will bring about a higher imposition or penalty. So also attempt or conspiracy. Okay. Okay. So that is pila ka minutes natin na lecture. Okay. So I will end our lecture here and then next meeting may ara na kamo sang exam. So ano gusto nyo nga type of exam? Ano lang para mahupos, true or false. Tapos multiple choice. Tapos essay. 50 to 100 items. Check pa lang kung pila matapos ko. Okay? Any question? May pamangkot?
Sabado mo ba?
Yeah, Saturday, 15. May exam schedules na kamo for other teachers. May pa man ako actually ginasukot sa exam schedule. So, may exam schedule na kamo sa iba na klase.
Yes, ma'am. Why ba, ma'am?
Okay. Lain-lain. Sige Yan no ko i-ask ko si Ma'am Pama kung madayon gid man nga this week ang exam schedule. Diba sige move nila ngayon wala lang ko kabalo. Anyway, tentative May 15. Okay, hapos lang man ko mag-exam ako tanyo ko F. Okay? Sige guys, ang gin-assign ko mag-check sa attendance. Please submit the attendance. Hasta lang 5 ang ako ni-accept kay nga daan. Ang iba dugang, nagadamo kamo. Diri subong 42 lang kamo naga-attend pero kung sa attendance na ganito mo damo na. Okay? So, amo man lang to. I will upload this video lecture. Man-try ko i-upload. Ganun kayo move at Abby. Anyway, kung wala na kamo questions, class is dismissed. Thank you so much. Lang screenshot lang ko sa mga nag-attend. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Halong kamo.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.